Hi again, this is Grow Your Own with PACE, Practical Actions for Climate and the Environment. So we're local people trying to do things which reduce emissions. And one thing we can do is to grow our own vegetables, because that will massively reduce the number of food miles involved in getting our fresh vegetables. So now's a good time to start. We're all confined to barracks at the moment. We all need good fresh food. So the next thing we're going to do, first episode we made our compost. Episode 2 is where to grow your own. So a raised bed like this is a good place to grow your vegetables. Here we are, we're actually on a raised bed. I'll just step off it. One thing this does means that we've got a really good deep soil. Vegetables like a good rich deep soil. They also need sun though. You've got to have plenty of sun. So your spot where you're going to grow your vegetables needs to be in full sun, or at least half the day in sun. So good sun, good soil, and of course water. Well, we'll have to add the water if it doesn't rain enough. Other places you could of course grow, you may have a vegetable plot in your garden anyway, which perhaps it hasn't been used for a while, so you're sorted, get that back into production. You may have another part of the garden which you want to convert into a vegetable garden, maybe part of the lawn or perhaps a flower bed or something. And if you're going to do that, then make sure you check by pushing the fork deep into the ground to make sure there's a reasonable soil there. Because quite often with a lawn, that's where all the building rubble's been put, so get that fork in, make sure that it's a good deep soil. Prepare your soil, and then like this raised bed, we're ready to start preparing for planting. So here I'm going to put a few spuds in today. So here I would dig a trench. I'll just dig a bit of that first through there. Deep trench. See how deep this soil is. Really done well here. And then some of that great compost we prepared before. Got some of it here in the barrow. That can go in. And I've got a bit of manure as well, a bit of horse manure from a local stable. That can go in as well. Mix that up a bit. Mix a bit of soil in with it. And then we can put our first few spuds in there. Here they are, ready to go. Lots of different varieties, but the main thing is to get them in the ground. Get them covered over. There we go. Actually, should have marked the row. Get a stick. Mark the row. Right, that's in a raised bed. So another opportunity you may have is along a fence line. You can prepare a bed along a fence line. Not so good for spuds here, but quite a lot of climbing vegetables, climbing beans and things like that. So that would be a good location. Maybe you won't have a place like that. Maybe you've got a very small garden and perhaps you could get a big tub, you know, a really big tub like this. So we could fill that partly with soil, our compost again of course. This is all about maintaining moisture in the soil. Yes, there are nutrients in there, but you know, soils around Manningtree are pretty rich really. As long as there's plenty of moisture there, they're going to do all right. Bit of my horse manure in as well. Right. Okay, then we put our spuds in, probably, well, get 2 spuds in that one I should think. Such a big pot. Smaller than that, then you'd have to go for 1. And then fill that up. Right up to the top, not quite there yet. But then you can, well, I suppose drag that into a situation or get it into a good situation. It's quite heavy now actually, so get that in a good situation, nice sunny spot, be able to water it well. Well, produce a lot of potatoes that will. So even smaller again, there's a little window box here. You could have that inside or outside. Bit better prepared soil this time, a lot finer, nice stuff. Now of course that's not big enough for a potato, we all know that. But it's a nice place to grow some fresh herbs perhaps, or even say a cut again lettuce or something like that. I've got some basil here. I love basil, so always grow things you like. Don't be tempted to grow things you don't like. So some basil seeds. There we are. I'll just firm that down a little bit first. I don't want it to sink too much. And then try and space my seeds out throughout that pot. I'll probably get, what, 30 basil plants in here. We can start them off inside on the windowsill. That's enough, I think. Don't be tempted to put too many seeds in. You've only got to thin them out then. I'll keep those for later. And then just a fine covering on top. Small seeds, small covering. Large seeds, large covering. So potatoes several inches, peas maybe only just ½ an inch. Small seeds like that, 1/4 inch or so on top. That needs watering, and then that can go in your windowsill inside. Later on in the summer you can bring it outside, and you can even sink it into the ground so that it takes moisture from the ground, and then that'll provide you with basil for most of the summer. So here's one of my other raised beds, and broad beans in this one, and look, they're in flower. That's always a great day when the broad beans come into flower. But anyway, this program was about where to grow your vegetables. Remember, plenty of sun, a good deep soil, and water them when they need it.